Next on Artifacts, news of the arts to warm up this Arctic November air.
We'll talk with the Walker's new curator for performing arts.
And the chair of the Minnesota Arts Communicators.
And the owners of the Brave New Workshop.
And a talent agent.
Hey, Phil, maybe she'll sign you up. This could be your big break.
I'm all aflutter. Let's take a break first.
Good idea. Artifacts for November is next. Stay with us.
Hello everyone, I'm Phill Lindsay from the Minneapolis Community Development Agency.
And I'm Zahn with the Office of Film, Video, and Recording. You know, Phil, we are very lucky to meet and talk with so many talented people in Artifacts.
Well, you know, that's very true. It's always a pleasure, and this show is no exception, starting with my conversation with Bither. He's the new curator for the performing arts at the Walker. It's going to be interesting to hear about the talent he's bringing to the Walker stage.
Then Phil will welcome Brave New Workshop owners Jenni Lilledahl and John Sweeney.
Followed by some good gab with the professional communicator. Anastasia Faunce is the chair of the Minnesota Arts Communicators and also serves as Director of Public Relations at the Minneapolis College of Art and Design.
Then you'll meet Wehmann, owner of Wehmann Models and Talent. She'll tell us all about the talent agency business, the drama, the intrigue, and she's bringing some audition tapes too. So if you've ever wondered what it might be like to audition for a movie or television commercial, keep your eyes on Artifacts.
And I've got another reason for watching. Not only do we have a great lineup of guests, we've got a great Artifacts giveaway. This time it's tickets to the City Children's Nutcracker.
Yes, I saw the show last year and it's just delightful. And we're giving away, get this, 2 family 4-packs of tickets, absolutely free, and you get to choose the date you'd like to attend.
So just be the 7th and or the 12th caller to the City Cable 34 hotline. That's 673-2234. Be sure to speak clearly, tell us you're watching Artifacts, and leave your name, your address, and phone number on the answering machine. And if you're the 7th or 12th caller to leave us a message, one of the family 4-packs of tickets to City Children's Nutcracker will be winging to your home.
That's right, and just to entice you to call, we've got a clip from the City Children's Nutcracker up next.
Then I'll be back with my first guest, Bither.
Students from the university and students from the arts high school, and God forbid the roller rats, the all-popular roller rats, professional dancers, avocational dancers, adult students that take classes at ballet arts. You know, it becomes kind of a big, huge family in a way, with all kinds of dancers from all kinds of backgrounds and all levels of experience. And for me, and someone that believes very strongly in dance, it's really nice to see that dance is for everybody.
Well, that's always a nice event, the City Children's Nutcracker, and I urge you to think about going over and seeing that show downtown Minneapolis. Well, my next guest is the new curator of performing arts at the Walker Arts Center, and we've got a lot to talk about, so please welcome Bither.
Phil, nice to
have you here.
It's
this
my
is
pleasure.
Great. I want to set the stage a little bit for viewers who think of, and everybody's probably heard of the Walker Arts Center, art museum, performing arts. What's the relationship of the performing arts in an art museum?
Well, you know, the Walker is a unique place in that regard. By our mission, we value the visual arts, the performing arts, and film video arts on equal levels. And that's what really makes us fairly unique nationwide. The reason is that we feel like the disciplines are blurring more and more as we get closer to the 21st century. And that we feel the Walker's mission, that's why we're called an arts center and not a museum, is really to support innovation and new work across the disciplines. So we have separate curators in each of the departments, and my department actually hosts and presents well over 100 performances a year all over the Twin Cities, as well as in our own auditorium.
Right, and you have a number of local partners that I know you work with. Southern Theater comes to mind,
Absolutely.
Northrop.
Yeah, you know, we have more than 24 partners that we collaborate with. Some of them aren't even arts organizations. They're social service organizations, community-based organizations that we always look at the event we're going to bring in or the artist that we're working with and then find the right partners to kind of make it even have greater resonance in the community.
Well, that's great. Well, in a couple of months, we're going to talk about some of the exciting programs and people that you're having in this month. And
it's a busy month this month.
Oh, no kidding. Very, very much so. But you mentioned something just as we were talking about kind of the blurring of the disciplines a little bit. What does that mean for audiences? Are they having a harder time, or is it more exciting to come and see this sort of new paradigm in performance and visual arts?
It's a really good question, because I think it's in some ways harder because you can't say, I'm going to a dance event or I'm going to, you know, see this visual art exhibition necessarily, because many say our dance events are now dance theater programs or dance opera events or music theater, or where these, even within the performing arts, the disciplines are coming together. I think it makes it more exciting once people get there, but a little more challenging to describe the event before they arrive.
Good point. But I suppose once they do, they're a little more invested in it then too.
Definitely, and they're realizing, hey, there's an exciting world of new contemporary work out there that is yet it doesn't have a label yet.
Yeah.
So they're, once I think people open themselves up to the range and the excitement and the passion of this work, and it's so relevant because it's being created by artists living today in our time.
Yes,
so
and that's your job.
that is
basically go out and find them.
That's right.
And bring them here and put them on stage.
And make sure they're happy and make sure we get an audience there.
Now that's a part of the job, I bet, that isn't always as easy as it sounds. You got to pick them up at the airport and make sure they're happy. And
well, it's actually my favorite part of the job
Is that right?
is working with the artists, because I think it's such a wonderful opportunity, and it's really a rare thing to be able to work with such oftentimes genius, to have these artists in our midst and to help support their visions in the creation of new work.
Well, Phil, speaking of geniuses, you've got quite a lineup here in November. Do you want to just start rattling off some of the highlights?
Well, in November alone we have 7 events, which as my staff has said, that's a lot of events, but we're very excited about the range of things we're doing. The highlights, I think, is that in the middle part of the month, we have, for a full week-long residency, the choreographer Ralph Lemon, who grew up in Minneapolis, coming back after he's gained worldwide renown with a huge new piece that we're mounting at the State Theater in collaboration with Theater Live and the Historic State Theater. It's a piece called Geography, and it happens, the actual performance will happen November 15th. It's a piece that involves 6 artists from the Ivory Coast in West Africa, 2 from Guinea, a 19-year-old hip-hop house dancer, and Ralph Lemon himself performing. And it involves an amazing array of collaborators, primarily from the African or African-American spheres of the world. And the poet Tracy Morris has done the text. The music is by DJ Spooky, who's a sort of very hip electronica composer, artist. And the set is by this visual artist named Nari Ward, and it's a stunningly beautiful set made of thousands of bottles all connected together.
Yes, I saw an image of that, and it's striking.
Yeah.
Striking. Well, who else do you have coming in?
Well, and then a week later, we have the Wooster Group coming from New York City, the legendary experimental company out of New York. And they rarely tour to the U.S. Their works tend to be so big and complex and at the same time exciting that it's tough to actually figure out a way to mount these productions outside of their home in New York. They tour to Europe quite regularly, where there's greater subsidies. But
and what stage will they be on?
They're actually, it's a collaboration with the Guthrie Theater and with Northrop. I sort of got all 3 partners together.
Nice collaboration.
And it will be at the Guthrie Lab space.
Oh, okay.
And
Down
it's
by the riverfront.
By the riverfront, yeah.
Okay.
And it runs for 5 performances from the November 20th to the 23rd.
Okay.
And it's a brand new piece called House Lights, and it combines their typical Wooster Group combination of video and TV and live action and movement and text, and it really is sort of overstimulation in a very exciting kind of new theater way. Yeah.
Well, keep going. Who else is coming here?
Well, we also we're finishing up a series of world music concerts that we've been hosting called New World Voices, focusing on singers from different parts of the world. And the final event is in the early part of the month with a singer out of Mali, West Africa, named Umu Sangare.
Oh, and I think we have an image of her that we can look at as you're mentioning.
We do. Yeah. In fact, she is only 26, 27 years old, but has an absolutely stunning voice. And she actually is seen as one of the real important rising stars in the African music scene. It's also interesting, though, that she's a very strong feminist, and she lives in a Muslim country. And her songs are about attacking polygamy and attacking sort of the discrimination against women and things. So she's an important political force in Africa as well.
You just reminded me, I think, thanks to your Doug Bennett, we're going to have some music by her at the end of the show.
Great.
So
people will have a chance to hear her voice.
They can hear at least a few moments of that.
And that'll be in our auditorium, which is a nice intimate 350-seat space. It's not a real heavy rhythmic sound that she has. It's quite acoustic and beautiful.
So get close to her.
Right.
Well, all right. Who else is here?
Well, also, going into the next month, one of the things I'm very excited about is a young theater artist, solo theater artist named Danny Hoch. And he has a piece called Jails, Hospitals, and Hip Hop. Here's a 26-year-old Jewish kid from New York who has an incredible empathy for the range of ethnicities and racial cultures within where he grew up in the Bronx. And he takes on different characters in his show and inhabits them not as a mime, a mimic, or as characters, but instead he develops these really true-to-life characters that have tremendous empathy. So it makes you feel like, in fact, we are all one.
Yeah.
You know, one type of humans all have direct connections between each other, and it's a stunningly powerful piece of theater that he's.
Well,
bringing
you were
in.
nice enough to provide us with a couple clips, and in a moment, let's take a look at Danny Hoch
Great.
and the wordplay, and as you said, his ability to put on like clothing
Right.
these different characters is amazing. So let's take a look at Danny Hoch. He's doing the wordplay in here is amazing. I think he's a radio DJ in this.
Yeah,
particular
it's called the Caribbean Tiger.
There we go. So let's take a look at Danny Hoch, and then we'll come right back with Phill Bither.
What part you coming from tonight? Sheila, dear, where you calling me from?
Brooklyn.
Sheila from Brooklyn. Are you married?
No.
Do you have a boyfriend?
Yes.
Well, you think maybe your boyfriend wouldn't mind if I talk to you off the air because you sound like the prettiest, most beautiful lady that has got the station tonight, hmm?
Maybe not. You have to ask him.
What is your boyfriend's name?
Sorrel.
Sorry, your boyfriend's name Sorry?
No. Sorrel, like the drink. Sorrel is a nickname.
I don't understand. What's that pretty lady like you doing a man called Sorry? Huh?
No. Sorrel. Sorrel.
You know, Sheila, dear, I am so sorry about that. I tell you.
Sorrel.
Sheila, you want to go on a date with me sometime? You want to go out with me?
You trying to get me in trouble, Mr. Morris?
I don't trying to get in trouble. I'm just trying to get the telephone number. Tiger style, baby. Worries and trouble. Sheila, do me a favor. Send some greetings out there in Radio Land for me.
Can you play that Johnny King song for me?
Johnny King, soca business. Sheila, are you Bayesian by any chance?
No, sir. Guyana.
Guyanese pussy in a place. I look for some Johnny King. Phil, thanks for calling in, Sheila from Brooklyn, all right?
Okay, bye. Love you, Sorrel.
Okay, bye-bye. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, people, the man says, look out, look out, look out, look out. Calling all Trinidadian Massive, all Tobagonian, all St. Vincent, all St. Lucian, all Grenadian, Antiguan, Guyanese, all Caribbean Massive. The man says this night, tonight, Friday night, so commit clips over there. They're going to be video Boulevard, Brooklyn. The man says it's going to be hot. Admission is only 10 smuckers in this budget deficit time. Security, tight, tight, tight. Bill Clinton style. Yes, people, the man says it's going to be better than cooked food.
Vaughan Morris is a first-class tiger.
Well, that's very good stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. And as we go out of our conversation, we'll take another peek at Danny Hoch.
Great,
So,
and that's just one of the many characters.
Right.
So when you see him in performance, you sense this remarkable range he has as an actor.
That's amazing. And he's in early December.
Yes, it's actually the second weekend in December. I think it's the 12th, 13th.
Okay, and that's in your space?
In our space, yeah.
Okay,
so
that's
it's again a nice intimate chance to connect with this
Sure.
artist.
Well, now, Philip, you came here by way of Vermont, where you'd been doing similar work.
I ran an art center in Burlington, Vermont, called the Flynn Theater for 9 years, and I was the director of programming. And we did about 50 events a year, and I also produced a big jazz festival there.
Right, and jazz is a big love of your own.
Jazz is a very major interest of mine, and in fact, we've already begun to program more jazz than we have been in recent years. Earlier in October, we had Bill Frisell come in with his Nashville project, and the early part of November, we're having actually, the 1st of November, Sun Ra's band came in to do Disney, the orchestra, to do Disney songs as part of our major Disney exhibition.
Oh, what fun.
Yeah, and then we've got 3 major jazz events coming in the spring as well. So,
Oh, that's great. Okay.
yeah.
Walker Arts Center, is there anything that we won't see? Is there anything that Philip is saying, well, I think I'm going to slide away from this and focus more on here?
Well, you know, obviously,
You gotta make choices, I
You
guess
got
is
to
what
make
I'm saying,
choices,
yeah.
and if we increase jazz programming, we have to let go of other things.
Yeah.
But right now, specifically, I am, being just 6 months in the job, really evaluating the range of programs that we do, and there's nothing that I can point to say we're never going to do this again, because I think we reinvent each year depending on what's interesting and happening out there.
Right.
We really want to stay very relevant to the new work that the young artists and master artists are creating right now.
Right.
So.
6 months here, obviously you had this thing we called summer in Minnesota. You're not unused to snow and winter from Vermont.
Right.
But in terms of the artistic community, the milieu, first impressions?
You know, the sense of the way people work together collaboratively and cooperatively is really exciting to me. Also, the diversity of arts activity locally is really exciting.
Okay.
The range of organizations and events that happen is a great thing.
Well, welcome to the community. Philip, just as we're going, a phone number people can call if they want to find out more about the performing
more about
activities at the
any of
Walker.
these events, Ralph
Yeah.
Lemon, Worcester Group, they can just call 375-7622, and they can also order tickets through that number
That
as well.
sounds good. Phil Bither, thank you, and welcome.
Phil, thanks so much.
Nice to have you here.
Nice.
Well, next up, Jenni Lilledahl and John Sweeney. They're two of the new owners of the Brave New Workshop. But first, let's take another look at Danny Hoch, who will be performing at the Walker Arts Center early next month.
The moral of the story is, okay, I take the bag, I drive all the way home, 4 blocks, all right, I sit down, then I take off my shoes, I turn on the TV, I just want to relax. I worked hard all day, I don't know about these people, all right, I just want to just, okay? I look in the bag, they gave me a small roast pork fried rice. You listening to the story? Okay, so me, I'm angry, I'm flustered. I'm looking in the bag, it's like looking into this tunnel of frustration and anger, So I put it back in the bag, I gotta put it on my shoes, I drive all the way back, 4 blocks, now it's 8 blocks I've driven for this thing already, okay? Now I walk into the guy, now the guy's not there anymore, okay? It's his sister, the guy disappeared, all right? So I say to her, I ordered a large, you gave me a small. She says to me, what? Already we're having miscommunication, right, okay? I say, I want a large. She says, $2.50. I say, no, hello, okay, before, earlier, I'm trying to think of all the possible adjectives. I got the source. Prior to the time when I'm standing before you here now, I already ordered a lot. You made a mistake. I'm 35 years old. I'm not a kid. I want service, So she's going to me something, like I'm supposed to understand what she's saying. She's supposed to understand me. Thank you. So then she turns to one of the other cooks there, right? And she's saying something to him very fast, okay? And I'm trying to listen to what she's saying. She's telling him to blow me up for all I know, right? But then, because I'm listening to her, because I'm a listener, all right? I hear her say this thing, and I record it in my brain. I want to do it for you, so shut off the water. Okay, but shut it off. All right, she says something, and then she says this. You ready? Brr. What does that mean? That's not a normal sound. But because I went to college, I have a master's degree in business. I think I know something about languages, if you give me the benefit of the doubt. Like the point...
I think he's got great wordplay. Check him out at the Walker. Well, my next two guests are two of the new owners of the Brave New Workshop, and that goes back, I think, a couple generations. I want to welcome Jenni Lilledahl.
Hi.
Welcome to Artifacts.
Thank you.
John Sweeney.
How are you?
Nice to have you here.
Nice to be here.
When I first saw you both, actually, you were on Hennepin Avenue, literally flipping Beanie Babies on a barbecue.
That's right.
Are you guys having fun yet?
We're trying to.
Yeah, it's all right.
We've been pretty busy.
Yeah.
But, it's been a great ride.
Now, earlier this year, you guys, along with Mark Berggren, put some money down on a table and basically bought the business, right, from Dudley Riggs.
Right, yep.
Want to talk a little bit about that? Why did you do it, and what does it mean?
Sure. I was an actor at the Brave New Workshop for 2 years back in '93, and came from a business background before being a comedian. So Dudley and I always kind of had an odd relationship. We talked about the business a lot, and I guess about a year ago he called me and said he was getting ready to retire and wanted to know if I'd be interested in taking over and keeping the tradition alive. And I said I wasn't interested in doing it by myself. I needed a team. So hooked up with Jenni and Mark Berggren. Mark was a creative director there for 13 years. Right. And Jenni's got a great background in acting and in teaching, because we really have three aspects of the business. We've got the school, we've got the theater, then we've got the corporate shows that we do.
Right, and I think a lot of folks assume, oh, I get down to Hennepin Avenue, go in and see this great comedy, but as you say, you're involved with a number of other things, outreach, education. Jenni, what's your role there?
I'm the director of education, so I run all the education programs, and I think we have about 100 students, full-time students that come every week for classes, and then we do workshops at corporations, and we do some youth workshops, outreach. So we're trying to expand that.
Well, now the folks that come in for the education, these are folks who are trying to get their comedy wings. Is that the idea?
Yeah, some of them are actors that have been told they should study improvisation as one of their tools.
Just to make it a little easier on stage for...
Right.
And some of them are people that are real interested in just improvisation as an art form. And then we've got a lot of everyday people that just are there to, maybe they want to do something creative or get out of the house, or they thought it would help them in their job. And
oh, really? Okay, I'm a
yeah.
little surprised. Okay, so folks, they're kind of breaking loose.
Yeah, probably 30% of our students are not necessarily pursuing a career in acting.
Okay, well, bless their hearts. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Now, when you go out to a corporation and you're doing a workshop, I mean, is this to loosen up the guys in suits or what?
Yeah, but we do a couple things. Probably 20% of our corporate shows are workshops where we go out and hands-on work with the employees of corporations to work on creative thinking, free thought, saying yes to things, group dynamics, listening skills, that sort of thing. And then the majority of our shows are actually just pure entertainment.
Right, the performance.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So someone will have a sales meeting or some sort of corporate event. They'll ask us to come in and understand what messages they're trying to get across in that event. Then we reinforce it with either writing new sketches or customizing the 40 years of sketches that we have in our archives.
Wow, and that is the tradition. And I know here you're the new generation. You're doing this, but for the sake of anybody who might not know, I mean, the Dudley Riggs tradition goes back to 1958.
58.
Yeah, that's a long time.
7 years before we were born,
Right.
I think.
Wow.
Yeah, we moved into the current space at 2605 Hennepin, November 29th of 65, and I was 30 days old at that time.
And moving that all that time ago just to get into comedy.
That's
right.
right.
Yeah.
But we're the oldest continuing comedy theater in the country.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Beat Second City?
Second City started a year after us. So.
Those sluggards. That's why
That's
they're
right.
the Second
They,
City.
they
right.
caught me dead.
Second.
Great.
But we really kind of got, in the recent months, have realized that it's an interesting ownership situation. We don't feel like it's really ours. We feel like what we're doing is what Dudley did and just kind of taking care of the place for the next 40 years.
Good for you.
And a lot of our work is to try to just keep up with what Dudley had going. And we think it's kind of interesting that 3 young people had to replace 1 older guy.
There you go.
I think it really speaks well of his energy and his vision.
Yeah, well, that's great. One of the things traditionally, I think anybody who's ever gone to or just seen an ad are the titles. They're always clever. It's usually a double title, not always. And you were nice enough to bring a couple posters from your recent shows. In fact, one of them is current, right?
Right. Jenni Fiddles is their current show.
Okay, and I think we're just getting that up on the screen now. Is it difficult to come up with those names? I mean, do you guys spend like 2 hours working on that and then 40 seconds doing something else, or is that just come to you? Are you just that quick?
It depends. Beanie Baby Barbecue was just a half-day thing. We just sat around. It was our first show as the new owners, and we threw around a couple of themes, and it came pretty quick.
Yeah.
And once we came up with that one, we knew that one would stick. Gender Vittles took us several weeks, and we still don't think it was one of the best titles of the history of the theater, but
Well, in this
that
case,
one took a while.
the visual helps a little bit with that.
absolutely.
There,
Yeah.
that's a scary concept right there.
Well, really what we do is we kind of examine, in the 6-month period that we're writing the show, what's going on in America that we want to comment on, and what are some words that might identify that. One of the problems we have is that Minnesotans always want to know exactly what the show's about, and so
is it a good value?
Yeah,
Right,
that's right.
Is that funny?
And so for Beanie Baby Barbecue, they thought it was going to be an hour and a half worth of Beanie Baby sketches. And so what we really do is try to have the title kind of explain how the show was inspired.
It's more of an organizing principle,
Right.
really, and then you go from there.
An inspiration or a feel.
Yeah.
The feel of the show.
Well, now I saw Beanie Baby, and one of the things you did that I thought was really fun and neat was you had some of the old alum on there. Now, are you continuing that at all? Are you going to drop some of those old timers back in once in a while?
Well, Jenni's an alumni of the theater. She was an actress at the theater in 93 and 94, and she's in the current show, and also John Brady, who did 8 shows for us in 93 through 95, and then's been at Tony and Tina's, so he's back. And we hope to have at least one more alumni in the next show, which opens up in January.
And Eugene Huddleston, who is our music director, is an alumni from 20 years ago.
He did
He's
his first
back now,
Brave New Workshop show 20 years ago.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
And we've certainly seen him around town doing a lot of musical gigs. Audiences, I mean, it kind of begs the question. I mean, you've got grandmothers, probably great-grandfathers who came, in their university days watching Dudley Riggs way back on East Hennepin, I think he started, and followed him around. Who are your audiences? Is there, in addition to the new ownership, I mean, are you finding new people coming in? Or is it sort of the old crowd? They're saying, hey, let's give them another shot, or a combination?
We've been looking at the composition of the audience over the last 40 years, and we think there's some sort of correlation to, as Dudley got older, so did our audiences, because I think he spoke to the people who he hung out with. And so there may be a change a little bit in our audiences. I think our material will represent perhaps our generation a little bit more, and that might be a bit rough and tumble and racy for some of the older folks. But we think that the people who really enjoy and understand satire will want us to be as cutting edge as possible.
Well, it's always been cutting edge there. One question I had, and I had a conversation with Dudley a couple years back about this sort of a thing. It's sometimes easy to skewer the pompous, the righteous, if you will. Are you also finding that you're skewering the folks maybe on the other side of the ledger, maybe the more liberal side? I mean, we live basically in a liberal establishment here in the Twin Cities. Right. Are you putting those guys' feet to the fire as well?
I think I'm the only Republican in the entire organization, so I like
Oh my
to.
God. Well, you are the guy in the suit here.
That's
so.
right. So I like to go after the liberals, and we also. We just did the show that we inherited was Minnesota. It's not just for Lutherans anymore. And one of my personal crusades, being kind of a outspoken Irish Catholic, is that these passive-aggressive Lutheran Norwegians need to be poked fun at as much as anyone.
Well, having said that, Jenny, how did you guys meet? Because aren't you one of them?
I'm Lutheran Norwegian. A name like Lilledahl.
Lilledahl, which in Norwegian means
Little
Small valley, yeah.
small valley. Okay.
Little Valley.
Lily Valley, sorry.
Lily hammer, small hammer.
Valley, Little
Yep.
Valley.
Yeah.
We both did our first night of stand-up comedy, the exact same night in January of 93 or 93.
Now this was stand-up,
Yeah,
not
we
sketch.
both, yeah,
stand-up.
at Stevie Ray's actually.
Went down on Nicollet here?
Yeah.
Wow, and that's how you met?
Yeah.
What exactly about this guy was that you liked? His outspoken Irish
I
Catholic?
didn't like him.
You didn't like the guy? Republican that he is.
He has that really gooey soft side underneath.
Yeah.
Is there-
It just
That
rarely
sounds like it's
shows.
going to be a show
Surprised me.
someday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that really goofy, gooey south side of
And
John
what about this
Sweeney.
Norwegian? I mean, just was it affectionate first sight?
It was
or-
pretty quick, yeah.
Yeah, on your part, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
I
oh,
fell pretty
man.
hard, pretty fast.
Every Republican's a liberal at that
That's
moment,
right.
right?
So it was fun. And another great thing about our current staff is that Stevie Ray, who still runs Stevie Ray's comedy troupe,
Yeah.
you know, kind of got us together through comedy, was both our first improvisational instructor also.
Oh.
And he's now full-time technical director of the Brave New Workshop.
Oh, no kidding. So it's all
Yeah.
coming together
Yeah.
here.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's one of the things I think we're most proud of is we're employing now, 60 people part-time?
Mm-hmm.
And it,
That's impressive. 60
Yeah.
people. Now you're talking all the talent, the tech.
alumni, and because
alumni.
we're doing a lot of corporate
So they're
shows.
all in the dole, right? I mean,
That's
if
right.
you ever, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
60 folks, full and part-time.
Yeah.
Mostly part-time,
Yeah.
but
And
I
almost
mean,
20 full-time now. And things have really,
Wow.
you know, we've got a 2-year contract with the Disney Corporation. We now have a theater on each of the new Disney Cruise Line boats.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So we now rotate 6 actors and a piano player every 6 months. They come here and they rehearse for a month, then they go on the boat for 6 months for 2 different boats.
Wow.
So that keeps us busy.
Are those folks from here, basically, or do you
from
audition?
all over.
Yeah,
All
we did a
over.
national casting tour. The first cast, we've got 3 alumni, 1 person from Orlando, 1 person from Chicago, and 1 person from New York.
So you are now a national
That's right.
We are
corporate, non-profit or for-profit?
both. We've got 2 companies.
Well, why not?
That's right.
Okay, so I suppose the outreach stuff and the
Yeah, the
education is
education is
nonprofit.
nonprofit.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's kind of a convenient kind of deal to do.
Right.
Kind of a more generic question about comedy. Obviously, you're veterans. The state of comedy, let's start with the Twin Cities. Healthy, hitting the tank? I mean, other than current guests here, but I mean, how are things? I mean, there was a big uptick there, I'd say, in the late 70s, early 80s, certainly locally. I mean, there were about
Well,
a
and
billion.
we often talk about it as theater too. I mean, we consider ourselves a theater first,
Mm-hmm.
and even just small theaters in this town. I know a lot of the smaller theaters are struggling. Dudley has never done any fundraising or had sponsorship, you know, so that's been a challenge, I think, for him, and compared to a lot of the other small theaters, you know,
Yeah.
like the Jungle and some of those theaters where they've got corporate patrons backing them up.
So what you're saying is it's earned income for Brave New Workshop.
Yeah.
So far.
Without the
Yeah.
subsidy and the.
And it's one of the things that Dudley was always proud of. You know, he was really one of the only small theaters that never was subsidized. All of his income was through ticket sales.
Yeah.
But we've got such a unique situation in the Twin Cities. We've got first or second most seats per capita of any city in the country.
In terms of theater?
Theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of
Of
theater.
course, you know, let's be honest about that. Yeah, Grand Marais can say the same thing. Because, I mean, they got 2 theaters up
capita,
there
yeah.
per capita.
But of the major metropolitan areas,
that's
we do
impressive.
that. And the other phenomenon that doesn't affect the statistics a lot is we've also got a mentality that, oh, geez, you should probably stay home a little bit more than someone in New York or Chicago. So you're not gonna, you don't have the frequency. In Chicago, New York, you've got a theater base where people go to theater once a week.
Yeah,
I
that's the
think if
thing.
someone's really a theater goer here, maybe it's once a month.
Yeah, so you got to fight for these people.
Right.
We've got more
Oh, yeah.
choices. We've got the new touring companies coming in with their full-page color ads, and
Got
we've got
that
all
right.
of our small theaters. So one of the things we're trying to do is to link ourselves with the other small theaters and really cross-market with each
Oh,
other.
that sounds like a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are they being receptive?
Yeah, everybody
Okay.
is.
Now, is that geographically based? I mean, are you looking for other theaters sort of in the uptown area or just
No, I think
Twin
in,
Cities? Just
in
do
the Twin
it.
Cities.
Good for
And
you.
the other thing we're trying to do is to, we both spent the last 2 years in Chicago. You know, in Chicago, there's 2,500 people who consider themselves improvisers. Second City has 800 people in their school. So we're really trying to increase the buzz about improvisation.
Yeah.
Because we think it's a great thing for actors, it's a great thing for comedy, it's also a great thing for outreach programs.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get this city
I
excited.
think it's a great thing for anyone who has to speak in public.
Absolutely.
I mean, you got to think, and especially if you're on the line for something, they're hitting you, the media's after you. We've got just a moment left. Phone number, people can call if they want to find out about this current show or what's coming up. Who's got?
332-6620.
And that number again?
332-6620.
Jenni, nice to meet you.
Thank you.
John, nice to have you on the show.
Pleasure to be here.
Best of luck
Having
at
us.
Brave New Workshop.
Thanks.
All right. Now, Anastasia Faunce will be joining me in a moment. But in the meantime, don't forget to call our hotline, 673-2234, for those tickets to the City Children's Nutcracker. Leave your name, your address, and a phone number on our message machine. And if you're the 7th or the 12th caller, 4 tickets to this fabulous holiday event will be yours. First, we have a video here of a talented young skater named Rachael Baer Pascazio. Rachael will be competing this month in the U.S. Open Skating Championships. The routine you're going to see was choreographed by local dancer and teacher Deidre Kellogg-Rush. Here's to the local ice theater community and all the tremendous work they do as Rachael skates to, are you ready for this, Carmina Burana. Stay tuned. That music just sticks in your mind. Carl Orff, thank you very much. I'm very excited. By the way, those of you who are watching Artifacts obviously have cable. I'm told by Deidre Kellogg-Rush, the choreography of that lovely skating piece there, that will be on ESPN, I believe, later in the month. So tune in and watch a local woman, young woman, going for the skating championship there. So that's great. My next guest is the chair, I believe is the title, of the Minnesota Arts Communicators, and we're going to find out about that organization. What are the Minnesota Arts Communicators? Anastasia Faunce.
Hi,
Thanks
Phil.
for being here. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you.
And I should disclaim a little bit. You and I both served on the steering committee of Minnesota Arts Communicators for a while. But you, am I right? You're the chair,
Yep.
which means
That's
you
what
run
it
the
is.
outfit.
I wouldn't say run, but I oversee the steering committee, which
That's
is
right.
a volunteer group that does oversee the association.
I'm going to bet there are a dozen people out there, if not 2,000, that are saying Minnesota Arts Communicators. What is that? Another nonprofit? But really, it isn't. It's a professional association of people
Right.
in the field. Can you just describe what you all do?
Basically, we are a professional association. We're not an organization that is made up of marketing and public relations professionals that serve nonprofit arts and cultural institutions in Minnesota.
Right.
So we're like PRSA, which is the Public Relations Society of America, is a larger outfit of public relations professionals. We really felt that there needed to be something more specific to arts communicators or professionals in telling people about what's going on in the arts. And that's
Well, that makes
one of the
sense.
reasons why it started.
Yeah. And how long has it
So-
been around?
Since 1990 is when it formally was founded.
Okay, I think it's a good idea, and obviously that's why I said, hey, I want to be part of that.
Right.
We're blessed in the Twin Cities with, I call it kind of the eco-culture. The old Arts Forum came up with this concept. We've got a lot of performing artists, producing artists, artists of all disciplines. We have most of the arts disciplines blessed with some sort of a service organization. And here's like another piece of the puzzle, a professional association. How do you think what you do with the Minnesota Arts Communicators fits in with promoting the health of the arts?
I think one of the biggest things is it unites all of us who are from these very disparate organizations. So you have groups that are performing arts, visual arts, dancers, theater, just like the Brave New Workshop was just on there,
Right.
members. It helps to bring us together in sort of a united cause, because
Right.
obviously the Twin Cities is known for its vital arts community. And I think it's just a good network for us to know what's going on, to get together to discuss common issues that relate to publicizing the arts, both locally and nationally.
And you mentioned a moment ago, essentially, you focus on the nonprofit arts. Are there special issues that the nonprofit arts have to deal with, that it's part of your job individually, but all these folks with the arts communicators, special issues around being a nonprofit arts organization in the late 90s?
Well, I think certainly being a nonprofit is difficult in the late 90s. We all know there's been struggles with the National Endowment for the Arts in terms of funding there and if that will continue, and et cetera. But also corporation and foundation funding is going down. So I think a lot of the public relations efforts have to do with maintaining and building an audience, which is vital to keeping these organizations going, but also working with the development or the fundraising people of the organization.
Okay.
So I think with any nonprofit, that's a real essential thing, is you need to have an audience, you need to have a key group of individual supporters to stay vital.
Co-equal, or would you say one of those is primary? I mean, getting the people in the doors, does that have to come first, or is the development, the funding?
I think really getting people in the doors, because that's what it's all about. That's why you're there to exist, to entertain people, to educate people.
I suppose if you're not doing that, it's a harder sell to go to funders.
Exactly. Then it's sort of what is the point, because you're not serving.
I wanted also to introduce folks to you a little bit, because you have a very interesting day job. You're at the College of Art and Design. You want to talk a little bit about that institution and what you do specifically as a communicator for MCAD?
Sure. I'm the Public Relations Director for the Minneapolis College of Art and Design. And I feel I've been there about 4 years, and I love it. I think it's the best job I've had in my young career, and I just really love the energy, the vitality of the place. Basically, the College of Art and Design is one of several private, independent art colleges in the country, art and design colleges, and we educate people to become professional artists and designers. And so we offer 3 different professional degrees. Many people don't know about all of these, but we offer a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in one of 14 different specific areas, from photography to painting to printmaking. And
you have a great computer lab, I don't know what to call it, the workshop.
Yeah, we're really pretty technologically advanced. We're known for that across the country, integrating our technology.
There's a new, I believe it's a degree program, the Bachelor of Visualization.
Right, it's actually a Bachelor of Science degree.
Oh, okay.
Which is very unusual for an arts college, as you can imagine, Bachelor of Science. And we're the first school in the nation to have this degree, and it's a Bachelor of Science in Visualization. So it's pretty forward-thinking. Thanks to our president, he's quite a visionary. And we also have a graduate program, which a lot of people don't know about. We offer a Master of Fine Arts degree in visual studies. So we really have a lot over there.
Just to orient people who maybe aren't aware, MCAD is in the Whittier neighborhood in South Minneapolis, sort of on the same grounds as the Children's Theater and the Minneapolis Institute of Arts.
We share that same block. It's a 7-acre block, which has the Institute, the Children's Theater, and MCAD. So that really makes that area pretty unique and fun.
And one doesn't necessarily need only to be a student to show up in your doors, because you also have a gallery there.
Right, we have a gallery which does shows monthly, and always have opening receptions to promote those and to get people in the doors. We also have a continuing studies program, which a lot of people in Minnesota and the Twin Cities take part in. So that's just for anyone who would like to take classes in the arts, can come and take classes at MCAD.
I don't even know how to ask it. How many people? What's your student body?
In terms of
for either or both sections here?
I would say for the degree-seeking students, we have about 500 students each year.
Okay.
And that includes, well, actually, no, it might be a little bit more than that with the graduate program, so maybe 525.
Yeah.
And then for continuing studies, we serve about 2,000 people a year.
2,000 people a year.
And in the summer, we have lots of programs for kids, so that's also very popular. Right now, we're also working on distance learning, which is a big thing.
Distance learning. Is it like mind-to-mind communication?
Well, not really, but somewhat, maybe if you can
Because somebody's working on that somewhere.
Right, exactly. It's more so people can take courses. Let's say someone's in Duluth and they really would like to take a course from us. They can do that online.
Okay, all right.
So
well, you're getting me back to earth here.
It's it's a very new thing, but I think it's really popular.
One thing that I had some fun with, I called up your institution on the internet, and there was a reading list for this Bachelor of Science Visualization. So I've since gone out and bought a couple of the books.
Really?
Fascinating stuff, yeah. So that's another way. I'm just Joe citizen out there saying, well, if their instructors think they might be worth reading, so I run down and buy a couple of these.
It's definitely very forward thinking. A lot of people say, well, what will these students do with this degree? And while we clearly have answers, a lot of these jobs that people will be doing, we don't even have the language for yet.
Wow.
I mean, it's that.
And people may not be aware that this isn't just useful for folks who want to be a studio artist, but folks that may be going out into corporate America or independent work or whatever, knowing how to be an artist, a designer, or whatever.
Right.
So
We have a number of students, I'd say, I don't know, maybe 50% that do go out and are working in corporations, either as artistic directors or designers.
I think I read in one of your newsletters that at least one of your people was just gobbled up by either MTV or VH1 or something for
And that's
his graphic work.
A current student. That's a student who was only in his sophomore year, and VH1 saw a piece that he did and said, we really want you to come work for us.
Wow.
And so he did go out to New York and worked all summer for VH1. They offered him a permanent position, but we've been encouraging him to finish his schooling. So he is back, but he's still doing
I think that's always important to finish your career. You know, Brooke Shields did that before she went in, so that's very important. We've got just a couple moments left. Let's talk about the profession a little bit. It's the best job you've ever had. You're having fun. How do you get trained for this? I mean, you decide you're a high school junior and you say, you know, when I go to college, I want to be a... How did you become what you are?
I never had any idea that this is where I would be, which I think happens with a lot of people in any profession. I've always been a writer, and so writing's been a key role, which of course is really important if you're working in public relations and publicity or any type of marketing. So I went to school and got a degree in creative writing, and I'm currently in graduate school to get a Master of Fine Arts in creative writing.
Okay.
And one thing led to another. I've always been very interested in the arts, and so just kind of found my way into organizations that way. Worked for the Loft, worked for Film in the Cities.
Oh, all right.
And then
kind of found the intersection there between your own interests in the arts. And
and I think part of it too with Minnesota Art Communicators, I really, that was during the time when I was just starting out working in the Twin Cities arts community, and that really, I hooked up with that group right away. And you know, once it's really helpful to know people so you can share information, but also so you can know what's going on in the field.
So the cliche would be it's a great place to network.
Yeah. Well,
it's a membership organization.
Right.
Dues?
$25 a year. Cheapest thing around.
Peanuts.
Yep, we try to keep it really low.
And if people wanted to call and say, hey, I'm a fledgling arts communicator, or I'm an old line arts communicator, there's a phone number they can call?
Yep.
And what is that?
874-3793.
Would you say that one more time?
874-3793.
Anastasia, thanks for coming on, talking about Minnesota Arts Communicators.
Yep,
nice to have you
Phill.
here. Well, you are watching Artifacts, the show that brings the arts in Minneapolis home to you. Now, next up, Susan Wehmann will join Janet to talk about the talent agent business. And to preview that segment, here's a quick look at a talent demo reel from Wehmann Models and Talent. Stay tuned.
People are making a fashion statement with their eyewear these days. And you can get the most popular designer frames at TSO.
They win.
When? But at TSO, you also get doctors of optometry who make sure you get the right prescription.
Dessert? Oh, yes.
Oh, thank you. Because without clear vision, those designer frames won't make you look so good. Come to TSO, where doctors make the difference.
They had a pot of regular. You wanted decaffeinated. Try Folgers Coffee Singles, made with ground roast coffee and its own filter for one freshly brewed cup. Decaffeinated Folgers Singles, the ultimate one-cup coffee machine.
Pentax, long known for excellence in cameras and fine optics, introduces Pentax Clear Coat, a multi-layered anti-reflective lens coating for eyewear. With Pentax Clear Coat, you'll be seeing better and looking better.
If you can see the clear difference between this lens and this lens, you should see the difference from in here.
Pentax lenses and coatings, a clear difference.
Morning, hon. Busy day?
Medical appointments. Dermatologist for me, taking Mom to her cardiologist, and after school, Timmy has his ears checked again.
Running all over town, huh?
Nope. My doctor's just 3 blocks from Mom's house, and her doctor's even closer, and Timmy's doctor is 5 minutes from his school.
I'm overdue for my checkup, too.
It's Friday, right across the street from your office.
Amazing. How do you do it? The right doctor at the right place at the right time.
I have my contacts. Why is KS95 your favorite radio station?
I like the enthusiasm, I like the music, I like the variety of music.
I like the variety.
Well, it's just great music to listen to at work.
It's upbeat and it gets me going.
No rap, no hard rock.
Welcome back, everybody. And here we are with Susan Wehmann of Susan Wehmann Models and Talent. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes. Susan, before we talk about that little demo reel that we just saw, tell us a little bit about your business.
Well, we represent actors and models for primarily the advertising that goes on in Minneapolis, and certainly also the film work that comes to Minneapolis. We represent AFTRA and SAG members only, which are two unions that govern the film work, the video work, and the TV work and radio work in town. And then we have a whole print department, which is for models. Kids, seniors,
all
moms,
ages,
dads.
shape, sizes, colors.
Yes,
yeah,
very much.
Yeah.
Actually, diversity has become a huge issue, and we are really in need of Hispanics and African Americans and Asian.
Yeah. Difficult to find a little bit in this market?
Yeah,
or?
difficult in this market.
Yeah.
And yet the clients that we service are very global. So as I've been out calling on them, the biggest issue is having diversity in their advertising and representing who they are, because that is who they are.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't want to lose track because I know people just saw this demo reel of Susan Garrett was her name?
Yes, right.
Tell us about this demo reel. How does she use it? How do you use it? Who sees it?
Well, lots of times clients will call and they'll want to have a still photograph and a resume. And that can tell you certainly something about that person, what they look like, how tall they are, what they weigh, and then their experience. But oftentimes, even before they want to see them for their project, they want something that's a film on them, so they can see how do they move on camera, what are the variety of spots that they've done, for anything from being a mom to a businesswoman to a customer. And then that, I think, really gives the client confidence of seeing that person and knowing that they can do the spot for them as well.
Do most of your on-camera people have a tape like that?
Yes, the ones that are currently working and are growing do. I would say the new people getting in obviously don't because they've not done that. Lots of times people will go and have something produced for themselves.
Make something up?
Yeah, and that's kind of a smart thing. Yeah. Because it leads us all to believe that they are working, and if they've produced it well, it does work. I don't necessarily encourage people to do that because it's an expensive thing to do.
Right.
But it's an expensive business card, basically, is what it kind of comes down to.
Well, tell us a little bit, Susan, when an advertising agency calls you and they want to cast somebody or they want to put a person in a TV commercial they're working on. Describe the process a little bit of what happens next so that you get the call. What do you do next?
Well, and actually, lots of times for TV, it goes to a casting agent, which people get that very confused with who we are.
Different.
There are people that are hired to put people on videotape to then show what we would call the advertiser or the client. And so like, say for instance, Target. And these casting people will get the script from the advertising agency and put those people down on tape. And they will call us and they'll say, here's the age we're looking for, the hair color, the eye color. They have to be this tall because our product is only this tall. And we want to put together a family. So the mom and dad have to match the 5-year-old boy and the 7-year-old girl. And so we pull photos to start with. Lots of times we'll send those demo reels that we saw at the beginning of the show. And then they will look at that and make the decision of the people that they want to see. They'll narrow down.
Casting director.
The casting director.
Yes.
Then we call our people, send them to the casting director. They put them on tape with exactly what the advertiser wants to do. That's then sent to the ad agency. They edit down from there. They send their picks then to Target. Target makes their decision, and then it rolls back down to us. Yeah.
We have an audition tape here to show people, and I think we should try and put that up and talk about it a little bit so people have an idea. What are we seeing here?
Well, it's an audition for Dairy Queen, and there's a category of auditions that we do a lot in our business, and it's called the Bite and Smile audition. And you can't believe that bite and smiling on camera for a commercial is tricky, but it's tricky.
Yes.
And it's tricky because you can't open your mouth and truly bite into something. In this particular audition, Sarah is working with a straw. And so they're wanting to have her look like it's a pleasant experience, that she loves to go to Dairy Queen, that she loves to buy a Blizzard. And so Kurt Ackerland is giving her a ton of direction on that, and how to make that look like Dairy Queen is just a fun restaurant to go to.
And without getting,
yeah, well,
looking
and without
real
looking
goofy.
too sexy, and without looking, I think, too we call it character in our business, where they're way over exaggerating what they're doing, and just to look like a normal person at Dairy Queen, and that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, it is. So, having seen that clip, tell me what you look for when you're choosing to represent a person. Somebody comes in, what do you need to see when you're meeting them?
Well, I think Sarah is a very good example. If you see on her audition tape, she has incredible skin. So if they are going to do any close-up of her, skin is not going to be a huge issue. She's got great teeth. Oftentimes when people send in photos to us to get into the business, if their mouths are closed, 10 times out of 10, something's wrong with the teeth. And again, on all commercials or film, if they want to go up close, even if they don't want to go up close, even if you're in a crowd and smiling, if you have bad teeth, it isn't going to work.
Because everybody looks at them.
Everybody looks at a mouth. I mean, it's just you focus on someone's mouth when you're talking to them. It's a big thing in advertising, teeth and a smile, and skin. Skin is a huge thing. And it's not just modeling. Actors have to have good skin as well. I think to be on the film and the video and the TV and certainly radio, acting experience and ability is another huge thing. Community theater counts. Our industry loves people who have spent a great deal of time doing community theater. You don't have to be a Guthrie actor to be in our business. You can be in community theater and do very well. And what's nice about it is we are the daytime business, and you can do theater at night and hone your skills and be good at that. And also someone who's in shape. That's not to say that people who are overweight don't work in our business, but at least, and they may not look like they're in shape, but maybe for their body type, they're in shape and they're exercising and they're getting plenty of sleep and that kind of thing.
So if you were to describe someone who is a success in this business, who pretty consistently gets work, can you profile that person?
I'd say the number one thing, and I think people think it's about a look, it's about ability, but the people that we represent that are the most successful, that do extremely well, are people that have a very good personality. That on a TV shoot that's going to last 14 hours, they don't lose their sense of humor. They don't lose their cooperative ability. They are not prima donnas. They're working as hard as the director, as hard as the camera person, as hard as the gaffer, as hard as the grip. They just come ready to work, but they come ready to work with an attitude that is fun and it's got a sense of humor to it. That's number one. I think the number two thing is that they feel good about themselves and the experience they've had to date, whether they are brand new or they've been doing it for 14 years. It doesn't matter. They like who they are, no matter what role they're put in.
It's really interesting business.
Yeah, it is a very interesting business.
You've been in it for about 14 years.
Yes.
We have just a little more time. I just am curious to see, over the 14 years, what's been the most dramatic change that you've seen as an agent?
I think that the biggest change for Minneapolis is that we've really grown up. The clients that we are servicing, the ad agencies, the retail stores, they are expecting truly professional actors and models. It's not people who are that are not in our business. They are people who are doing this, that are available to do it full time. They are making a living at that. And when I started 14 years ago, it wasn't that way at all. And I would say then Minneapolis is totally competing with New York and LA. The same caliber of talent that we represent is the same caliber of talent that is in New York and LA and can do big national film and national TV and radio work.
Positive change.
Very positive change, and exciting change, because it certainly makes all of us grow. I mean, the bar of expectation keeps growing, and not to something that we can't service and enjoy at the same time.
Well, thank you, Susan. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Janet, it's been fun.
Glad you could come.
Thank you.
Phill will be back to join me for some tasty tidbits of arts news right after this art quote. Stay with us.
And we're back. Well, that was a lot of fun.
As usual.
What an eclectic group of arts people.
I know. Well, yeah.
Susan's great.
She's very fun.
Yeah, I want to sip on a straw sometime.
I know. And I got to get my teeth fixed. And
Well, I got to get a lot fixed. I got to fill in a few potholes. I don't know.
Well,
that was
we'll
great.
talk about that later.
Well, at this point in the show, we talk about a few newsy things here. Zahn Dance Company is celebrating their 15th anniversary with a fall concert series. Starts the middle of November. And if you want to find out more, you can call them at their phone number, 338-1101. Also, down near the Loring Park area, the Westminster Presbyterian Church just published a book about their building. Not about their faith, but about the building. So it's called The Art of a Building, and it's a pictorial review of the architecture, art, and stained glass of Westminster Presbyterian Church. It commemorates 100 years of that building's existence. I thought that was kind of cool.
It is very cool. Yeah. I want to talk and remind you, once again, City Children's Nutcracker, we're giving away tickets. Right. And all you have to do is call the City Cable 34 hotline.
And that number is 673-2234.
And leave your name, address, and phone number. And be sure to tell us that you are watching Artifacts, that you're interested in the tickets. And if you're, I think, the 7th and 12th
That's right.
caller, you will receive tickets, and you get to choose the night that you'd like to go. And your choices are November 28th and 29th at 7:30, and they have 2 matinees on the 29th and 30th at 2 p.m. at the Historic State Theater.
Yeah, and what a great setting for that.
Oh, it's
Production
so fun.
State Theater downtown.
Yes.
Also, by the way, we're going to call up on the TV screen here an image of a piece of art that was commissioned by the Minneapolis Community Development Agency, that's where I work, to celebrate its 50th anniversary. And this is a piece of art recently commissioned, and we just wanted you to take a look at it, and then we'll be right back.
You're 50 years old?
Well, I'm not.
Oh.
But the MCDA is. So take a look. Well, that was fun.
Hey, nice.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Well, coming up will be the Artifacts calendar. And just wanted to preview a few things coming up, some fun stuff. Next month, we're going to take a look at what's called the Nativity. It's a pageant put on at Hennepin Avenue Methodist Church every holiday season. And then in January, Pat Young with the 26th Street Artists is going to be on talking about things. And Janet and I are kind of cooking up a little fun around the whole idea of food.
Big food lovers.
So for maybe February, which kicks off Artifacts' 8th year, by the way.
And by the way, too, if you ever have any questions or want to know about our guests that appear on Artifacts, you can also call the City Cable 34 hotline. We'd be glad to answer your questions and send you to
That's right. If you want to find out about the books, the events, the people,
phone
whatever.
numbers again, we'll do that.
And our number again, 673-2234. Well, thanks for watching Artifacts. We'll see you next time. I'm still Phill Lindsay.
And I'm still Janet Zahn.
me, take up the chain bla. Progressive Zafa.